Okay, hello and welcome to November 20th live stream, another paint and chat. This time I kind of came up with a topic so we can kind of mull around that a bit, but I still want to see how you guys are all doing and what your projects are. Last week, of course, I mostly finished my Man of War guy. Again, he still needs the highlights, but what I figured I would show you guys is how I do the base markings from total scratch. So we'll do that. And then, I don't know, I've had this thing for a while, and this is actually for another project, so we were just going to play around with this and paint and yammer about model saturation. So, how are you guys all doing? Let me pull up the live chat here and see who all is here. Alorian, welcome. Samuel, hello. Appreciate you coming back. Alfonso, welcome. Hey, Jeremy. Muzzle Paint. Have I met you before? Either way, welcome. So the important question, did anyone manage to get themselves the Sisters box set? It's sold out in Australia in 3 minutes. Wow. I know that the scalped price on them has gone way up, and I didn't get a copy of one. I'm gonna, I don't know, see if I can't, like, use some connections to try and get one, because I really don't want to buy a little box set. Hey, welcome, Paul. Appreciate you, as always. My dear moderator friend, Darts X Faller. Hi, welcome. Okay. Oh, okay, I guess I'm sorry. I have met you before, Muzzle. Either way, welcome back. That wagon wouldn't be too bad with some nice wood-like paint. You know what? I'm thinking the same thing, David Dog. We're gonna chat about that a little bit, yeah? Mike G painting undead horses tonight. Horses are so fun to paint. I actually bought a second unit of Greylord Outriders for Kador because I wanted to paint more horses. And like having 2 units I guess is fine too, if you get all spammy with your lists or whatever, but mostly I just wanted to paint horses. I had so much fun. I was doing like the gradient of their like darker hooves to like lighter up the legs and like adding some spots and so fun. I did manage to possibly get one. Oh, really, Jeremy? Nice. So full release kits are coming in January, I guess. Alfonso finished 3 of 5 Hellblasters, and I'm moving into my Intercessors already. Nice. Let's see, Alfonso, I was there second online in the UK, and I couldn't get a Sisters box, but here in Spain, where English versions of the games don't sell as well as Spanish, I pre-ordered it. Oh, nice. Beasto 9 getting done tonight. Oh, he's such a beautiful model. I have no idea how I'm going to do the ice on his axe. Do you have a few different blues? Because you just sort of, or what I did, was just start out with like a darker blue, and then you like dry brush lighter to get all frosty, but I don't have easy access to my, to my Beaster 9, or I'd show you. If you remind me, or you go on Facebook or Twitter or something and message me, I'll send you a picture. Well, looky here. Hi, Space Wolves. Glad to have you back. I managed to paint several Blood Angels, painted the Captain, the Sergeant, the Heavy Flamer, and also the Sanguinary Guard. Nice. The cart looks like a great sculpt. Is it Terrain for War Machine? I believe this is from the, it's D&D Mosers, Nolzers. Hang on. It's, this box set here. Nolzer's Marvelous Miniatures. It's not technically for War Machine, but it is for Iron Kingdoms. So this is one of the many set pieces we're working on for the IKRPG. So this is this just has to get painted anyway, along with like 800 other things. So I figured I'll work on that. But first, in order to do what I said I would do at the beginning of the video, I was going to show you how I do the base markings on my War Machine models. And, you know, everybody has their own technique. Of course, on a War Machine model specifically, the facing is 180 degrees, so it's pretty easy. It's a circle cut in half. So we're just going to take it on a note card and outline it. That's what I'm going to start with. Whew. Hello from Orc Boy. Hey, welcome back. There's zombie horses. I'm having trouble with the exposed muscles. Ooh, I also have a really good model, but I didn't paint it. My friend Flo did. She painted the Skin and Moans model for the Grimkin. It's just absolutely fantastic looking. All right, so we're going to take this and we are going to trace a circle around on this thingy here. And then I'll go back to reading your comments. I just figured I'd probably be better off getting started. Ooh, there's an unevenness in the base. Ta-da! Alright, we have a circle. Hopefully I still have my scissors up here and they didn't get stolen. No, they didn't. Ha ha ha. That's why you hide scissors in drawers where people can't steal them. Just gonna take this. We're not gonna cut it out exactly on the circle line. We're actually gonna leave a little bit of a, say, an 1/8 inch circle around it, like a halo, if you will. You guys can continue telling me what all you're working on. This is inspiring, actually. You guys seem to be making much faster progress than I am, especially you, Jeremy. Ta-da! All right, done with that. Done with those scissors. Back in the drawer. And now we have this lovely little circle. And I already told you how you get to 180 degrees. So we're just gonna fold that baby in half. Hello everyone, I'm working on my second Reaver Battle Titan for Adeptus Mechanicus. I'm doing them as Legio Ignatum. Oh, nice. Hello, Anna. Well, I have to admit I'm a little jealous here. Although I have one Reaver Titan and it's gonna be Legio Presagius because, well, there's a Pegasus. There you go, in half. And now you have a 180 degree marker. Ta-da! But wait, there's more. So on here, I usually do gold with the red icon. This is enough room. You sort of figure out where exactly you want your model to settle on it. Oftentimes, I'll bounce back and forth between squaring it on the shoulders, which is my default if I don't have anything marked and we're playing with it for whatever reason, or whichever way the head's facing. And that can be a little funky when you have dynamically posed models, but whatever. So there we go. D&D terrain, so pre-primed. That's right. I've also been absent and busy with the move and all that. Oh, fair enough, fair enough. Dreadful question to ask. Do you use markers on your minis? I don't. Not yet. Have I made an exception to that? I don't think so. I'm at a cafe bar, so it just happens to be on the right time for once. Nice. I'm working on a sore throat. Oh, I'm sorry, Gearladen. That sucks. Even Miranda has papercraft skills. Hey now, I actually know quite a bit of origami as just a rando point of fact. All right, not using your own water cup as your brush cup. We're gonna just make sure that brush is nice and clean. This is my little Baumwick brush that I've been beating the heck out of, and it's been holding up, so good job, Jason. Working on a couple of Orc Boys for Kill Team. Oh, I need to get back to Kill Team. I've been so lazy with that, and there's not really any excuse. I enjoy Kill Team. It's fun, and I've been playing way too much WoW, and really there are just better things I need to be doing with my time at this point. All right, do I have that where I want? Ta-da. I don't use a marker. I actually just use paint to mark where I want. But I mean, it's easy because now you've got this line that just you can paint right to. And that's essentially exactly how I do it. And you know, the thickness of the line ends up being like what, a millimeter or two anyway. So you're only ever gonna be so precise. Just turn that around. Shoop. And shoop. And that's really it. That's that is the base marker on the miniature. And then of course I fancy it up. I'll take it and I'll put some gold around it, and then I'll paint the rest of the base black, and it makes everything look a lot prettier. But that's all that goes into marking my front arcs. And now you know. Wargamergirl. Yeah, I actually was a super big fan of making all the little swans and, cranes, and like where you're not supposed to cut paper or in origami, technically speaking, because that's not origami anymore. But if you do cut the paper up into a bunch of little squares, even though they're like kind of attached to each other still, I did the stupid origami thing where it's like a crane holding a bunch of cranes in its mouth and on the tips of its wings. It was bananas. It was bananas. I had more free time as a kid. It's paper taco night. Basically, whatever gets you to 180 degrees. Putting together a black coach for AOS. Whew. Are you guys all excited about the old world stuff? Or is everybody on board with AOS now? I can't tell what the tenor of the fan base is at this point. Persagius is awesome. I love Ignatum because they defended the Emperor's Palace in the Horus Heresy. That is a pretty cool lore piece. Definitely. Can't wait to spin it off as Wolf Sisters. Alright. Man, there's a lot of comments in here. Okay. Whew. So, are you guys overwhelmed with miniatures? Do you have miniatures piling up on the shelves and filling up your Amazon wish list for the holidays? Welcome to what probably is miniature saturation. At least that's my definition of it. There's a few different ways, right, to look at it, because companies are putting out miniatures every month, or multiple miniatures every month, multiple models. And if you follow more than one game, that can definitely be a lot to keep up with. So they're kind of like, a company can be guilty of model saturation, but then also, it's a lot easier. And money is what it is, but it's still going to be easier to just go buy a miniature than to sit around, assemble it, prime it, clean it up, modify it if you want, paint it. So that process is always 50 times longer than the act of purchasing it. So it's easy to end up with a massive, massive backlog. I'm pretty sure I bought this set in what, February or March of this year? Like early on when I was looking at pieces to fill out the IKRPG sets. So yeah. Okay. Bananas. I too am a little saturated with minis. Warcry and Space Hulk sets to start, plus a cupboard load of other kits. Well, and that's the thing, right? It's not just necessarily a model. It will be some terrain. And now that terrain is modular. So you're painting pieces that you assemble still later, and just accessory pieces. And then, of course, there's the gaming accessories. Paul, I know you're guilty of probably being overly indulgent in your dice, and so you might collect them too, in addition to miniatures. So obviously it can get out of hand. I have no advice on necessarily where to store it, because more than 50% of my house is dedicated to this hobby. And so I have zero discipline, obviously, on it. All right. Nope, AOS all the way. Okay, well, there you go, Space Host. I'm glad you're liking it. And then you're jazzed for the old world. I want my high elf cav back. So do you get all of those back? Like, are Bretonians coming back? And all of these factions that, I mean, I'm sure people still kept their models. Are they going to let you use your old models, technically, in tournaments? As one who got into AOS, I am mostly intrigued. Fair enough. I can get into Old World, but it won't be for a few years. Oh, okay. I guess that was announced a while back. Swamped to death with minis. Okay, we all are on the same page here. Whew, way too much. Just got an entire Grimkin army and just started Legion. And still have Menoth models to paint. I know, Ryan. I hope you're doing all right over there. Don't freeze to death up in Canada. I like my square bases. Really, that's one of the things that I remember turning me off to AOS, or not to AOS, to fantasy when I first saw it getting played. There were two major factors. Like, square bases, they feel really dated. I don't know why. It was a silly idea, but it was just what my first impression of it was. And then also the miniatures were just like very, very complex with fancy webbed wings and these huge tall models that looked like they would just fall apart if I touched them. So no, just wasn't gonna happen. Probably why I like Imperial Guard, nice clunky dudes. Doesn't matter if they fall, you can lose them. They're just, not the end of the world. See, Warhammer Old World will be a niche game to cater to the old players of the 8th edition plastic miniatures and then new miniatures from GW and Forge World. Okay. Maybe the new old world will be good. I don't know. Looks like Natasha is onto something diabolical. Last time I saw Nurgle Battle Force box for Warhammer Fantasy Battle was at my FLGS for 11,000. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Paul, there you go. I have too many minis to paint that I can keep track of. I can mostly focus on about 3 at a time. So that's an interesting approach, because when I'm on here, I've tried to do like a few minis, just paint an assembly line, which can work for units and troop choices and whatnot, until you get to a solo model, and then they take more time because there's usually more detail put into said solo model. And so I don't know how easily I could bounce between 3 very dramatically different models. Like doing multiples of the same when their palette is the same and you're kind of doing the same stuff on them seems fine, but yeah. Does anyone have a dice tower? I do not, but I do have a 3D printer, so I could have a dice tower. Old World, we made a logo. That's all really. Fair enough. But people go crazy for anything GW puts out because, eventually they're going to do something, and as far as I can tell, it's always been well received eventually. AOS had a very interesting rocky start, but everyone seems on board with it now. Coach looks great. Cool for diorama with gypsies and Dracula. Yeah, so I was gonna try something. I figured because I'm doing this for the Iron Kingdoms, it's gonna have a little bit more of a steampunk feel to it than just straight, wood, metal, wood with some metal decorations. So I'm thinking, we'll see how this works. Since this is all pre-primed, we can just test it, and, well, if worst comes to worst, I guess I'm stripping it. But I figured this should all be metal, and it looks like it ought to be, but I figure I'd do a coppery metal. I've got this wash that I wanted to try out. It's a patina. So, I don't know. We'll give it a shot tonight. See where it goes. I mean, I have about 400 things to paint for this show, so it'll happen one way or another. Time to get her done. Where's my get her done brush? My Larry brush. There it is. So beautiful. Hope so on my cavalry. I love the silver helms especially. Huh. If the IRS tax authorities busted into my home right now, I'd get arrested for operating an illegal Games Workshop third-party shop. That's how many unpainted minis I have. My goodness, Dave. And it's hard, right? Because you knew why you wanted any given model when you see it. Do any of you forget you bought models? Like, where you'll see one and you'll be like, oh, I wanted to get this, but I already bought it. Or I forgot that I ever even wanted this model. Okay, Alfonso, that actually does make a lot more sense. Hey, Patrick, how are you? Saw some of those pictures from your campaign, so good work there. Don't get me started on Gremlin 2. Yeah. Let's see. Tell you the truth, the new Old World is a segue to their RPG version of Warhammer Fantasy 4th Ed RPGs. It's a smart move if that's the case. I mean, RPGs are doing extremely well. Honestly, I think any miniature game company right now would do well to focus a little bit more on the miniature or the RPG elements, because it's a broader audience and people who play that still want miniatures. So you are just expanding your market. Gamer bod. Ooh. All right. Well, let me just hide this unsightly mess. This is Worn Penny, I think. Was it? Yeah, Worn Penny. That's the name of this paint. And it seems a little bit worn out on its own in general. I'm just gonna very, very casually clean off this goop. Ho-hum. Much better. Always keep toothpicks handy. It's very nice. Do it, my lady. Use that paint. So you're gonna glue gears to it? No. Actually, one of the things that's really nice about the IKRPG is that it's not that really goofy steampunk where you just smatter glue on a bunch of gears and like here's some random piping that means nothing and there goes steampunk. It's a very superficial approach that I have seen taken, and it's just awful. But honestly, I think the IKRPG does handle steampunk very appropriately. Like everything that has that steampunk, like has gears or has pipes and steam, looks like it's there for a reason and is actually doing something. And function is very important to me as far as getting into a world. So better than that. You're braver than me with that wash paint. I mean, we're just playing around. I'm gonna suggest a copper roof with that kind of teal Asian. Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a patina is on a copper surface, so that would definitely make the most sense to do. I never forget, I have 2 notepads listing all my AOS and Warhammer 40k minis. Same for Bolt Action and Flames of War. Wow, you are way more organized than I am. Congratulations. I honestly don't even know what to say to that. I'm gonna pour this out into some paint pile here, since it's a fair bit of painting to do. I just bought the Chaos Terminator Lord to find one at home a month later. Oh, Paul. That's hilarious. There we go. We'll see how far that gets me. Doop-doo. Alright, we're going to paint a roof. I mean, maybe I should do the rest of it first. But I'm really excited to try out this patina and see where we're at. So we're jumping in. We're just doing it. With my Larry brush. The Get Her Done brush. So, you know, it's my little craft paints here. Not the most amazing coverage, but we'll just replace, you know, high quality with multiple layers. Kind of end up there. So, I understand there's some Orc Boys getting done. Reaver Titan getting painted. Oh, I really want to see pictures of that, Anna. That sounds beautiful. And it's such a beautiful model to begin with. Are you doing, I guess it's just all Mars pattern, isn't it? Unless you have, like, are you modifying it at all to change the pattern, or is it straight on Mars pattern like a Forge World? Jabba. Slap that paint there. I will. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing what you post there, Space Wolves. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy it. I do like this color. It's a nice copper-y color. Go Warren Penny. Way to do your job. This is also one of the brushes from Creature Caster that Jason hooked me up with. And, you know, like, I'm not being overly harsh on it, but I'm not being overly gentle on it either, so curious to see how well they hold up over time. All right, first layer, that's all gonna be wood in there, although honestly on the edges that should be copper as well, because it's a metal roof, and turns out it has depth. We get to carve that in. That'll be super fun. Okay, cool. There we go. And we'll get that up in there too. Got a written test tonight. I'm sorry, I missed a whole bunch of the comments. I was painting copper. I've always described it more as steampunk than traditional steampunk. Maybe, I don't know what steampunk originally was necessarily supposed to be, so I don't know if I'm describing it correctly or incorrectly or whatever. Anna, I found the coolest thing, Tamaya panel line. It's a black enamel wash. Awesome for panel lines on the Titans and Space Marines. Tamaya, somebody else was talking about the Tamaya before in the chat. I have no idea what you're talking about, but that is interesting. Black enamel wash. Huh. You can play all your Warhammer Fantasy minis in Kings of War, and GW announced Old World 2 weeks after, Kings of War version 3 came out? Coincidence? I don't know that they're all that sophisticated. I think everybody's constantly racing against each other, and you tend to see trends. Talk about steampunk. I have something that you'll like. I'll post it on your Facebook. Yes, okay, please. I definitely want to check it out. Okay, I gotta go. Bye, Alfonso. Take care. Good luck. Did you reprise it or just going with their priming code? I found it was easier to paint WizKid stuff after kitting it with that second coat of primer. Nope, this is straight out of the box and to a paintbrush. So, you're probably right, Jeremy, but I mean, you care more than I do. Oh my god, I'm not the only one who uses those paints on miniatures. No! It's a bit of an ongoing joke in my community. Alright. I think it's time for a second coat of worn penny. Besides, the color line, you know, you can't go wrong. Does that paint have a metallic flake? Yeah, it is a metallic. You can see the shine in it right there. So. I have both kits, they're Mars pattern. I magnetized the carapace and arms and have the Forge World warp missiles and Vulcan mega bolter. Ooh. Wow. That's awesome. Just found out a tiny pin-sized hole in the underside of Beast 09's left arm. I don't think it's supposed to be there. It's an easy fix, but it's weird to find that sort of error on a model. Yeah, it's all metal, isn't it? Well, mine's metal. Did they ever remake Beast 09 to be plastic? Because if that's the case, maybe that's what you're getting? That's super weird. Maybe a red or brown wash after a couple of coats. No, I'm putting my patina wash on. It's going to be so exciting. I have no idea what I'm doing with it, so whatever. Bob Smith Industries Insecure Super Glue, the best magnet glue in the world. Fair enough. I could do with a co-host, Patrick. That would be helpful, because then I might actually get more painting done. I adore Flo. She's my dear friend. She gets so focused on painting, so she'll like be on the stream and she's like, I'm painting. I'm like, okay, well, I'm reading comments and I'm not painting. This I sort of get both in. I don't know. We'll see. I need to have her back on, though. It's fun having her over. And it's fun seeing what she's working on, because she does a really good job. It's my old school paints. I don't know. I mean, they're craft paints. I don't know. Being old means a whole lot. There we go. I mean, Vallejo's even, like, super old school. I guess I have heard of those, though, so there's that. I just have never gotten into brand name paints. In fact, as a general rule, I don't get into brand name anything. Even as a kid, I could not care less where my shoes came from or what clothes I wore. It was never that. All right. Getting that layering on. But yeah, I'm kind of super happy with how this copper or this worn penny color's coming across. It's looking pretty dang legit. All right. There we go. And I'll get the underside here in just a moment too. But yeah, that's pretty happy with that. And because it's technically, this copper paneling, I figure I should do it on the top here too. It's not as pretty because there's no texture on the bottom up in there. So it just sort of will look like what it looks like. But I'm hoping the patina can give me a little bit of help there. Push it into some of the corners, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. There we go. Alright, beautifully, sloppily done, whatever. Can't put the wash on until it's really well dried, so. Gotta love 50 cents at Walmart. That's right, Attack Gypsy, you're completely right. Speaking of other models, I have a modern ATV armored mash unit truck. Sweet. Okay, yours is metal. Yeah, that is weird that there'd be a hole. That's super strange. I think they redid Behemoth. I don't recall Beast 09. I didn't think so. I know they redid Behemoth because he had a really bad model design before. Well, I mean, not to rag on it necessarily, but he's this huge, heavy model that weighs, what, 1.5 pounds at least, or a couple pounds, and they have him standing on 1 foot. It's absurd. So, I'm glad they redid it. And I do historical models too. I've had to my things before I got into wargaming. Oh, okay. Well, that's really cool. The historical stuff has only become more interesting to me more recently, I suppose, which just coincided a lot with just sort of being more interested in history in general. So I guess it just seems like a logical progression. I've been working on enough. Hey, Wargamergirl, good to see you, man. On a 10-man team of Mantic crossbowmen, black primer, metal armor, white tabards, brown for boots, gloves, and crossbows with a second brown for the feathers after. It's a good setup. A lot of steps, but that probably works out really well. Okay, Miranda, you're going to use GW oxidized paints. But why would I do that? You do call the police coppers in Australia? That makes me so happy. Even with a simple paint plan, they've still taken me longer than I liked. But I want them done. Yeah, I mean, if you're painting in the lines, for lack of a better term, if you're like really cutting in the detail, it's just always going to take time. Okay. History is a passion for me. Tanks, jets, historical wargaming. Oh yeah? It's fascinating. History is, I feel like it was never taught well in schools. Like, the way it's taught is so unhelpful to how amazing and interesting history in reality is. The idea of just memorizing dates and places as a test item without knowing, like, why did so-and-so do this? What were duels like? Like, back when duels were legal. Like, why did people do that? Why were they outlawed? How was that even received? Like, so many parts of history that are just you know, of course, the major incidences as well. Knowing why you got to a certain point is, turns out, kind of important. All right, that's super shiny. I guess we can get some woodwork done in the meantime while I wait for that to paint. And it turns out wood is brown, so I'm using brown. Ooh, I've got so much coppery color in this water. I don't know if you can even see it. There you go, that swirl. Oh, that's gonna be great. Maybe they'll give a little shine to what I've got going on. Did you ever get that crackle paint to work? No. No, it was just... I never tried it specifically on the model. I kept testing it on other things and hating the result. So it's still sitting there. Where is she? Oh, hang on. So my ladies are still just sitting here with their railgun on an uncrackled base. I will figure it out. I just haven't done it yet. So their base is gray, and that's what it's going to be for the meantime. But, you know, overall, I'm still happy with how they came out. And they are tabletop ready, so that's the important thing. Where's this wagon you're painting from, Miranda? I backed a Kickstarter for similar gypsy wagon, but it crashed and burned, so I imagine my folks would love to know about an alternative. Yeah, this was, I showed it earlier. It is, there it is, Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures. So it's just an actual D&D brand. So I just found this at the local game store. And for a lot of the stuff I'm working on, I need townspeople and environment stuff that's not just all war-based. So I picked this up, and yeah, it's been a great find. It comes with a bunch of stuff. Actually, there you go. I'll show you what the back of it looks like. So you got the wagon, and like a chest, and a sleeping bag, and actually comes with 2 horses, and just a bunch of stuff, right? So it's designed, of course, for helping the RPG setting, and that turns out to be what I'm using it for. So, haha, I'm going to pour this into one. You're so right about scholarship. Dude, it's horrible. Most of the history I've really learned has just been from particularly good books, and a fair bit on YouTube, actually. All right, get some paint in, and time to... What do I want to do about that? What do you paint the inside of a wagon to look like? The paint on the box is actually obviously electronically done, so drink it, you get superpowers. Unlikely. I'll probably just, you know, throw up. I do Dust 1947 too. Oh yeah? Nice. I have a bunch of stuff that they sent me that is actually already painted, and so this one model came unpainted, so I just wanted to get her done so the whole rest of the army's ready to go. And I'm so excited because I think the Dust models are really, really beautiful, and I'm really curious to see how well, like, the very casual playstyle works, especially coming from War Machine. Crackled paint. Elmer's glue on your base. Paint and blow dry. Fair enough. Maybe. I have to watch more videos and build up my confidence before I try it on a miniature. I've already painted and made so pretty. I know what you mean about towns. I've backed Reaper Bones to get such town folks minis in some cases, stalls and miscellaneous backdrops. Yep, that is the way to do it. What am I looking at? I am going to do a quick Google search on how people painted the windows on my Nolzur's, Nolzur, Marvelous Miniatures wagon. Because people have probably done something pretty with it. Oh, there's one that actually did like a whole patina thing. How funny. Probably should have looked at that first. Oh well. I don't like that purple inner. That's not attractive. I wonder if I can get away with a blue. Like a... Actually, why don't I just do more of a, like a dark yellow? Like a lantern lit, like lantern lights on the inside. Maybe I can do something like that. They never worked right. You're not the only one that doesn't work. Dust is awesome. I love my mercenary girls, and I have U.S. Marines and a bit of Axis. So they sent us the Allied forces as well as the Spetsnaz. So they're both like very distinct looking armies. I'm curious to see how they play against each other. And the app is interesting. So they have this free app for the army builder, and which is a really good idea. I think army builders are super valuable for miniature companies, but and so I think I've got like a good points balance between the two of them. Let's see, is Dust balanced? Looking through their store, I expect to see a lot more China stuff compared to other factions. Also, Cthulhu? Yeah, the Mythos army is a real thing. Gunning blue. Maybe? Yeah. One can ask for so much before getting overwhelmed, like the models GW puts out. Bright green can look both creepy and can sometimes give a better ethereal look. Yeah, but I'm not going for an ethereal look. I do want more of a grounded, like, normal people have used this wagon. Might just leave them dark. Maybe it's a tragedy inside. I don't know. I didn't get that far. I look like an elf. Oh my. I hate elves. Some room for Gene Stealer purple. Oh, Paul. The only paint I ever bought that was purple was because of Paul. It's the only purple I own. Is that true? No, there was an old purple I had too. I don't even know how I got it. Yep, I think I'm gonna do that. Whoever painted this one knows what's up. Beautifully done. They're all glowy effects and stuff, but we'll see if I can show you here. Just so you guys know what I'm working on, what I'm looking at. Insert image. Wargamer. How about that? It's pretty cool, right? Let's see if I can't shrink this down to being not horrible. There we go. I like those windows. That's what I'm gonna do. This person did a great job. I'm going to now copy them. I have to log out and restart. Yes. Pale yellow. Yep. That is exactly what's going to happen. Hey and hey. That's apparently what I've got. It's very... Is that too dark? I don't know. We'll see. Were you here for the rap battle? What on earth are you talking about? One second. Nice thing about these super cheap craft paints is you can have about 400,000 of them. Medium yellow. Oh, that's still paler. Might just do a mix. I think that just might be in order. Okay, now I'm tired. We'll go with a lighter yellow in the middle. Yeah, this will be fine. Whatever. Jump in. Might use this longer and thinner brush. There we go. don't know. We're gonna try this pale yellow in here and see if I don't totally biff it. But yeah, I'm kind of looking for more of a warmer tone. If I were making this carriage in some version of the upside down, I would understand more going with an eerie glow, but don't need it to be eerie. Honestly, running around the Iron Kingdoms should be kind of scary enough without having to even go there. It's a highly lethal world. Yeah, so my theme tonight was sort of working on the project that I had been working on at the end since the end of last year, which was my tabletop game, the RPG. So here's a piece from it of the many pieces. We've got miniatures for the main characters that are largely painted at this point, so I'll show you guys more on that whenever it comes out. I hate talking about stuff that isn't quite fully done yet, because then it just feels like you're waiting forever. Feels like I'm waiting forever. But yeah, I think that's good. This is almost a neutral purple. The one you showed look awesome. Do you have an orange or a mix for the edges to give that glow effect? We'll see. I do have an orange. Oranges. We'll see, Illyrian. This is all new ground for me. I didn't expect. I was so excited about trying out the patina that I hadn't really considered the rest of this. I guess I don't have to. I don't necessarily have to paint all the stuff up there. I can just get on to painting the woodwork down below. I know what color that needs to look like. So, but yeah, I probably will do a little bit of the edging. I also don't know if you can really wash that in. Probably just paint that in so you can control the shape, huh? Yes, that makes the most sense. All right, whatever. Let's paint some brown. Anna, I tried Citadel Air for the yellows on my Titans. I like them. They spray well if you add a couple of drops of Vallejo Flow Improver into the airbrush, and they hand brush nicely, almost like glaze. Oh, nice. Painted all jet black, and then the windows with an eerie glow of yellows and neon greens. That would be something. Are we there yet? We'll see. We'll see. So excited. You can wash the windows, but you want a super pale wash, like a yellow or orange. Browns or even sepia give it a weird tone. Good to know. So whenever there's a part on the model that I'm less certain of how to approach, I ignore it until later. Because for whatever reason, it's a lot easier to approach maybe when something else on the model's kind of done, and then the color to go with or where to paint something becomes more apparent for whatever reason. So, or I want time to research it, which also may happen. It does need to look pretty at the end of the day. I joke about being cavalier about this, but it does need to meet a certain film standard, because all of these are going to be filmed. All of these pieces. So I think we're just about there and ready to do the patina. I'm just filling in some of the other weird details just to make sure that we're not showing primer, I guess. So I'll be there in a minute. We're only like an hour in. Wow. This has been an oddly efficient night. You guys making progress over where you're at? And I guess it's easy to lose track of time, I've noticed too. Like, Thanksgiving is apparently next week. I'll be here for the day before, so if you guys are at home painting, chatting, I'll be doing one of those still. But yeah, like the whole holidays of them, I'm like, huh? What is going on? Why is there a holiday? Oh, because it's just that time of year when there's holidays. How bizarre. Ooh, but this weekend I will be going to a convention, so that should be something. I've only painted one guy the whole time we've been live. Oh, geez, Jeremy. You sound bad as me. Start with the brown or blue and then paint it yellow. You can always call any spillover like bleeding from the inside. There you go. It's probably a good idea. Miranda, did Jeremy tell you that I won the campaign? You know, he didn't mention that, Patrick. I think he neglected that detail. He's writing up a very well executed narrative for his website that details each game a lot like a book from the Black Library. Wow. Go you, Jeremy, man. That's awesome. One not on. Contrast paints look amazing on the WizKid Nulzer stuff. Oh, yeah? Well. See how this Tattered Angels, I don't know, this patina looks. We'll just definitely shake this up. Only won by 1 point, no big deal. Oh, sorry, other Jeremy. Too many Jeremys, apparently. All right. Painting on patina. Ooh. A little nervous. Touch. Skosh nervous. Am I using too small a brush? I probably want a bigger brush, huh? Yeah. This is probably something that I need to go lightly over, maybe? This is the edge of my knowledge here. Getting the chat on. So this is kind of more of that patina-y look. Debating to do more, actually. So it would build in corners is what I would guess. Probably along the edges more. I don't know. Hey, Paul. Hey, how you doing, Joel? Huh. Well, I guess I'll see you in a few days, huh? I was kind of mentioning the convention we're going to later this week on Friday. So I kind of dig this other patina one I found online. It seemed like it was a very heavy patinaing. So this might just be a first layer. Not sure. I've got this sort of light coat on here at the moment. It's not Kador, that's true. You're correct, sir. Don't hate it. I just wonder if I kind of don't feel like it's enough. It is from the Dungeons and Dragons train sets, actually. This is a covered wagon from there. Bluing, not bluing. Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah, maybe I should consider the contrast paint, Zach. I haven't really looked into them. We'll see. But if I happen to have some, I might pick out a few of the base coats and just go with that. I haven't painted any models since before Jeremy came up to visit. I'm working on some new terrain projects. One of them is an easy terrain stuff for my gaming group in Libby, Montana. Nice. If the base coat has flaws, you can always use a wash of a closer coat to ease your oops. See, painting seems so much more forgiving than gameplay. Oh. I've had these friends in MT that have been playing D&D for 5 years or so, and they've never played with minis. Now that's a breakover. There's a lot of people who play role-playing games and they're all in on minis, or they don't particularly prefer minis. Theater of the Mind is a whole lot of fun, and I'm not gonna lie, even for the show that we're doing for IKRPG, a lot of it still is theater of the mind. It's a lot of value to storytelling in that. Spent my day painting the last of my 2,000 points of Imperial Fists. Nice. Feels good, man. Good job on the Space Marines. It actually looks kind of steampunk. Yay! Probably do another coat of the patina in a bit. Contrast paints are super convenient, but they are pretty expensive. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you think it seems to be working. I'm, like, pretty unconfident at the moment, but I don't hate it. So I'm thinking I'll either stop or do a lot more, because there is this other image where someone's just totally nuts on the patina, and it kind of also looks really cool. I think it probably does still need more, just so it looks more like an oxidation of the copper and more than a sheen. But yeah. I enjoyed the yellow contrast paint for a few skin tones, but for now that's about it so far. Good evening, everyone. My day got away from me, but still wanted to come and show support. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Jay. I haven't used the minis mostly because of the closest places that sells them is an hour and a half away, and I think most of their miniatures are expensive GW projects. Oof, that's rough. Miranda, your Tempestus Scions painted. Would love to see them. Mine are about 1/3 done on the hobby desk. You know, I haven't touched mine since before Valhalla, and I painted, like, a couple of them have some base coating. Some of the Scions, I should say, have some base coating. So it's hard, because you get so excited about painting, like, a specific army or my kill team list for a specific thing, and like, you work on it for a little while, but I do get distracted a lot, and again, I've been playing a lot of WoW. There's that. But so no, I have gotten away from that. That's one of the things on the never done list that will need to get done. Just gonna get some brown in here. Oh boy, so much to do. So that's the thing, right? Like, how do you prioritize your miniatures? Like, do you do it by specific event deadlines? Jeremy, I know you were talking about having minis done by Valhalla, by Adepticon, by a few of the major events. And I've kind of done that, but I don't know that I'm necessarily so disciplined as to keep up with a deadline like that either. So I've been sort of trying to paint as I enjoy it, and so just paint stuff I want, because, you know, my taste changes enough that I will eventually want to paint all of the things, except for maybe that Stormlord. That really freaks me out. I also have a little bit of get out of jail free card. Well, get out of jail for some amount of money card. Because my friend Flo's a really good painter. And so if there's something I just don't want to do, I'm like, Flo, paint this. So there's that. Epic Duck does a good review on contrast paints. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if it makes so much a difference for me. I don't know how much time I'm saving with it. So I guess it could be worth watching a review on that. Basically, I think I've been enjoying right now anything I paint with this brush because I love the coverage of this brush. And I'm getting crap into the details. There we go. Oh. I recently discovered Iron Warriors Silver. It's like a lead belcher with Nuln oil. Okay. Is that like a technical paint or contrast? What happened to that mini you were painting at Valhalla? That is my Bulgren, and he's still in my kill team list. In fact, I think he's still in my Citadel case. But he was coming along great. Unfortunately, I don't have those paints here, so the rest of him will just have to come together with my normal paints. It'll be fine, though. So, there you go. It's kind of nice to change the scenery up a bit, too, instead of just painting like a human or a playable dude. Like, working on some terrain is nice. There is a weird zenness to painting terrain, I've learned. And I think part of it is just you're not as, well, I don't know if this necessarily applies to you, but for me, I'm not as concerned about it meeting quite the same standard. Like, you can just get away with being sloppy on terrain because you're like, what? It's worn out. This thing stays outside all the time. It's different. It's not a living creature that might take care of itself and have standards for what it wears or whatever. Fair bit of wood on this model. Go, Larry. You guys named him. Just so you know. This brush is amazing, though. I'm not gonna lie. It's made me very happy. So many base coating woes done. So one of the things I was going to suggest as far as like model saturation, you know, taking stock of what you have is always sort of the first step, knowing the minis you have. But a lot of you guys sound like you already have a good handle on that. The other thing I was going to suggest, of course, was smacking the camera with your paintbrush, was to vary your nights between painting the types of models. So, you know, terrain pieces could be a night, or whenever, you know, if you feel like painting something different, remembering that you have that option to work on maybe one of your terrain pieces or an objective piece instead of necessarily a play model. Now, in the case of Anna, you are clearly rocking around with models that almost double as terrain pieces. They're so crazy. So, you just have your hands full no matter what. But I'm sure you're doing an amazing job with them. I want to see what your Titan looks like. All right, so you know, get wood on wood. The wheels will mostly be wood. Probably do probably a steel banding around it. I think that's what the old wheels had. It's like wood with a steel band around it. I think. We'll see. I tend to use events to kick myself in the butt and get stuff done. And there's nothing coming up. I set a goal like a mini every day or something like that. Oh my, that's That sounds like a really difficult standard to meet. A mini every day. I have kids, so I have no deadlines. Fair enough. 3 weeks on your first Titan, Anna? That's crazy. On the 3rd week for my 2nd. So it's almost done. I've always done event deadlines to rotate armies and factions so I can try to get rid of some backlog and try new roles. Yeah, I don't know that's necessarily worked for me either, but it's a good approach, because if you're going to an event and you know what you're going to play, then you already know what you need to paint, and so it kind of cuts that out for you. Everyone gets something different out of contrast paints. I found a few uses for a few colors, but some people don't like them and other people use them a lot. Fair enough. Iron Warriors is a layer paint. Oh. Have you seen the newest Sisters of Battle preview? There's an updated Dialogus and Medica that are there, and a new Hover Aquila pulpit with a dual heavy flamers. Yeah, I think I know the image you're talking about, because they had like the whole set shown, and they had like the stained glass on the vehicles. It was really, I mean, it was very pretty, but it's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is gonna sell out in 3 seconds, and I'll just see it later. We'll see it when it's actually in stock. I'm surprised we're not seeing more of Tommy's 3D sculpts. How's he like doing that? They're getting done slowly. Right now, basically what you saw a couple weeks ago with the sort of Iosian influenced building is still in the same spot. Always change it up. So bored painting the same thing over and over again. Yeah, and that's why I really enjoyed like hopping around with the war bands for Warhammer Underworlds, because it's a war band. It's a limited number of models and you're done, and then you go on to another thing and it's totally different to paint those. So that's been fun. Adeptus Titanicus is a good game for me. The models are so detailed that it's really absorbing, and it was challenging to do the safety stripes on the Ignitum, I bet. I've seen it done, I haven't had to do that myself. Airbrush makes Colossals/Titans easier. I have no doubt. Let me just hop out of the Wild West movie ranch and check. Yep, wagon wheels have steel bands around wood. There you go. Let's see. Part of 3 weeks on learning to do magnets and doing bases. Hey, how are you doing, Ruben? Good to see you, man. I am in the middle of painting a wagon. And I'm probably going to add more patina here shortly. Oh, and maybe some orange to these windows. Where's my orange? What have I got? What do I have? A mustard. Oh, that probably might work really well. So, yeah, I'm figuring out windows, basically. So, I didn't have this as deeply planned out as I was hoping. That's okay. Georgia clay. That could be an interesting look. I don't know. We'll see. We might mix some colors in a bit. I do still have more brown to add anyway, so I'm not in a huge rush. Keep your paintbrush wet. Looks better than the pre-painted version I've got. You've seen the sign on the back? There is a sign that can say whatever I want it to say on the back because it is blank. Oh, there you go, Lord Binder representing on him on his own there. Also 3D modeling some pieces to go with the existing Pegasus hobby terrain pieces. Yeah, so sort of see what comes of that. Starting an initiative for 2020 called 3D Terrain is Better. So, as you can imagine, I am an advocate for having physical pieces on the table. And yes, there are arguments either way. But everybody has their preference, and this is mine, so. That's one of the many things that we'll be doing. I think I'll just leave these wheels alone for the moment, since I'm holding on to the wagon by them. Teehee. So, model saturation. I mean, for the most part, I think everybody kind of has their own way of dealing with it. For some of us, that way of dealing with it might just be getting a crap ton of models and eventually maybe being yelled at for having so many said models. So, I'm hoping that maybe hanging out here and just chatting about it might help some people who may have this problem. Like I said, about 50% of my house is dedicated to this hobby, so they're everywhere. They're in almost every room of this house. It's absurd. I did the safety stripes by masking and airbrushing, but I had to strip and redo the second one's torso. Oh no! Was the tape, did it not have a very good hold? Did it just like bleed on the edges or something? You got it. Sign's my favorite part. Uh-huh. I don't know what I'm supposed to put on there. I'll have to see. I'll have to come up with something. I might use a pen for something like that. That would make sense. Terrain on the table is my preference. 3D all the way. That's right. All the way. And there's currently a 43-minute queue on the Fairbanks server. Oh my gosh. Guys, I don't know how long I can keep up with WoW. It's taken up so much of my time. And now PvP has been released, and I'm outnumbered 2-1 by Horde everywhere. I've decided Horde are like tribbles. Because I just watched the Star Trek episode last night. And if you fight somebody in PvP in the open world, and they're a horde, then with each hit that you strike on the opposing faction, another horde appears until there are about 10. And then they corpse camp you because they don't know how to do anything else. And so, yeah, the game has been different lately. And not like actual vanilla, not like how it originally was. This is different. So, is what it is. I guess I can at least start the queue since I need to at least check my honor levels because I was still running around fighting everybody, of course. I mean, let's not be silly about this. Why? I've always got my knuckles wrapped for putting my terrain on the table. Oh, that's horrible. Also, you have enough kits that you can make a parody of Tom looking for a coffee mug and finding models in the kitchen or toothpaste and filing out, yes, we do. So that is entirely possible. Could be funny. I've got a few skits that I think would work out really well. It's hard because sometimes I think of skits and I'm like, is that mean? I don't know. Is it a mean thing to say? I'm like, but I really want to say it. So, yeah, I mean, commenting on 3D terrain even apparently, like, is not polite. But I can't help it. I don't know that my parents would have necessarily cared what I did if I was totally into terrain as a kid. I didn't get into this until later. I didn't even know about this until later, but pretty sure my parents would all have been just like, it's fine. Let's just start getting the base coat on here. Seems like that patina's pretty well dried. That's good. You wish you had my painting skills, Joel? You could. I think it's just a patience thing. But tell you what, I'll show you painting if you can show me some of your Mortal Kombat skills. Because watching you roll up on people online is fun. So fun to watch. It's kind of inspiring. Oh yeah, so apparently I'm going to be at a convention this weekend. KanjiCon is happening for those of you local to Albuquerque. And the group I'm with for Media Glitch will be doing a couple of panels on running a YouTube channel and talking games. Mostly I'm on those parts because there's another one I think on retro games, but I can't necessarily speak to that one as much. Alright, I think that would make sense if that was metal holding those. And then we've got some more of that brown in there. I don't know, should I give the patina another go? My backlog is kill team models I need, gifts for others, models I just really like the look of. Okay, it's fair. I'm wanting to make some 3D printable terrain, 3D printable pieces that are more 40K-ish to go with the Gothic castle pieces Pegasus makes. Yes, that is the idea, and I think the stuff that's being worked on is looking really cool so far, so here's hoping. Okay guys, gotta go. See you, Space Wolves. Appreciate you hanging out, man. Just remembered something. So just remember, is it something Jeremy would say? If yes, then the answer is it's probably mean. Yeah, but sometimes just having an opinion at all is considered mean, and that's nonsense. So it's like, you're being considerate, or you just wanting to call someone else mean because you don't actually want to hear their opinion. There's a difference. Enumerating things makes it hard when I think on it. I own. Fair enough. Time for another channel. Today was great. Take care, Space Wolves. Appreciate it. Jay, I was joking about the knuckle wrapping. Not literally. Our tables are just too small for model play, really. Well, and see, that's the thing, though. There's so many, like, skirmish games anymore, like Dust. And Anna, you probably talk to this, or speak to this, too. The idea is that you can just put it out on a kitchen table. And they even have 3D terrain. You have tiles, but they have terrain as well that you can just put out, and buildings, and it makes the world, it makes it feel more like a playset, and I really like that. So I don't know if possibly there's like this idea that you feel too much like you're playing with toys if you've set up this whole town. I don't see anything wrong with that, but maybe that's part of the argument for 3D terrain. The only legitimate argument I've ever heard for 3D terrain is carrying space. Fine. I don't think it's an excuse at conventions. So, yeah. Mandragora, 40K Chaos is adjacent support. Cyber Lizardmen, Mercs, Mutant Spawn, Sci-Fi Prisoners, Robots, Turrets, and assorted sci-fi and steampunk mechanics, and scientists acting as my Lord support staff. Wow, that sounds really cool. My backlog is Soviet Naval Brigades and Takanka wagon for bolt action. Then there's Vermin, good old Vermin. See here, dust terrain's pretty nice. Yeah, exactly, and it's not that hard, right? Because you're reenacting, just earth terrain largely, so it's not that crazy. I think we only have to be at the con Saturday and Sunday, so just so you know. I'll send you the schedule when they send it to me. Sounds good, Joel. Fantasy Undead Army, the village they prey on, orc zombies, the orcs, and orcs the undead took the dead from, and of course village civilians, guards, and mercenaries, and adventurers defending them. My goodness. They make lay flat 3D terrain, which is a pain, but nice when it works. Yeah. I agree, better skirmish options these days. I like the immersion and playing with terrain. Height for line of sight. Well, yeah, and that's a huge deal if you're playing something like Infinity. The Infinity group here has insane terrain, like just jaw-dropping tables that they make. And it's very important to the rules. I should really sell the chibi miniatures aside from My Little Pony stuff. They don't fit the theme or style for anything I own or enjoy. Man, I could never get into chibi. And, like, I liked My Little Pony as a kid, but I don't know how I feel about this recent resurgence of it. Like, I'm pretty neutral on it, but part of me is like, I don't know. This kind of... I feel dubious about why everybody's excited about it. Like, I don't believe them. That's an orange. I'm backlog finishing my circle, plugging away at Kador. So much Star Wars. Oh, are you doing all Legion? Before I dive into the new bolt action minis as they stare at me from my desk, I need to get my YouTube, Twitch stuff online. Yeah, you do, man. And that's a whole other hobby. That is a whole other thing that takes your time, so fair warning. It's always going to be a lot of work no matter what you do. Which is why they tell you to do stuff you like. Because there's going to be some points where you're kind of sick of it. Tonight I am batch painting a Neurothrope, a Zoanthrope, and a Venomthrope. Wow, that's a lot of thropies. When I was little, I only remember having access to Battletech and old school Warhammer. And at least the battles my friends staged required. A banquet hall. Nice. I mean, that's cool. Let's see. So we're going to see if I can do this right. Whoa, why are you doing that? My paint got pressurized. How unfortunate. I'm just gonna attempt to mix this and see if it's giving me at all the color I want. I'm sort of just playing around with paint at the moment. Pop vinyls of Saga is awesome. Oh my gosh. This is giving me really very orange. Let's just keep adding more yellow. Additive colors, yay! A lot of additive colors. It's not really giving me what I want. Before I dive into the new bolt action minis, though, as they stare at me from my desk, yeah. Forgive me for being negative, but I hate chibi and pop vinyls. I feel like the cheap bobbleheads damaged the statue and large figure market. Maybe. I don't know that the people who buy chibis were necessarily, like, otherwise buying large figures either. However, it did end up adding a ton of... Maybe there's, like, large figures that I guess haven't been made as a result of them just making a chibi instead. So I could see that being the case. But I don't know, like, I've always seen the comic book stores that have the huge models of Superwoman, Supergirl, and Catwoman, and Harley Quinn, and they're always these $200 statues. And they're pretty, but I don't know that I know a lot of people who had them. Man, I'm really having to mix a lot of yellow here. Yeah, that's getting a little closer to what I want. Wow. I'm making a mess of this little palette, but I think it's doing what I want now. We're just gonna try this out. If not, I'll just add more paint. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure I'm exaggerating. That was a lot smaller than compared to the table. It's still a big table, though. Well, it's weird when you remember things as a kid. It's like when you go home or see things that you only remember from your childhood, everything seems smaller. As Miranda knows, a sniper video game comes out this Friday, which will own my life. But I also need to make hobby time during this. Has to be a balance. It's a good thing. It's why getting away from WoW and not getting super involved in that and hanging out with you guys is actually super, super positive. So, let's see if that's a little too dark. I don't know. What am I doing here? So I found this Georgia clay color that I literally dug out and then added my yellow to, and I've created this weird color. So I'm going over it with that. We'll just see how we do. Should be fine. Okay, see you, Wargamergirl, and everyone else in the Albuquerque area who's going to KanjiCon. Night, Joel. Thanks for popping in, man. I appreciate it. Actually, it'll be kind of fun because the Media Glitch people. So if you follow Media Glitch, there's a girl in it, Alex, who is she does D&D 5th edition, and she does dungeon mastering as well. And Joel's never played Dungeons and Dragons, so I think we're trying to convince him to give it a try. So I think it'll be fine. Paint stirring ASMR. I'm sorry, I totally just went off the deep end, just mixing a bunch of color. So my bad. There you go, Raven. That's probably a reasonably healthy mix. I do sort of a similar one. Let's see, one of my favorite things is my Black Widow statue sculpted by the late Randy Bow, and it was super expensive, but Black Widow is my favorite female superhero. Does she count as a superhero? Or is she like one of the like anti-hero or whatever? Because Catwoman, I think, falls under that. Black Widow is certainly interesting. I did not read any of the comics for her or know her prior to Avengers. I was more of a Catwoman and Storm Girl. Oh, and Rogue. I liked Rogue a lot. I just read the X-Men. Jean Grey never impressed me. But I did enjoy the Dark Phoenix saga. Too bad they can't make a movie out of it. But whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I'm used to seeing those statues as well. And so I don't know, like, that the TV market's been has really hurt that. If anything, a lot of the artists have probably just found that they can also do those and sell to more people. Because more people are going to have, like, $10 to buy a little chibi model. As opposed to however much you pay for, like, super high-fiving Black Widow statue. And then, you know, you have kids or whatever, and they break everything they see, so gotta be extra careful. Mandragora with 40k, I was about building an army, then the support staff, then the camp followers. Now I'm thinking they should each have their own rooms. Oh, Jesus. Is that 5e group you mentioned open to new members? I don't know, like, it's not a started group yet, so I might try to help rope Joel in. They'll take me on as well. Maybe. As far as I know, it's a small group, and again, it hasn't actually formed yet. This is just something that we want to rope Joel into. And I think he's overall into it, so. And then, of course, we have to, it'll be filmed, I think, here, so the lighting should be good. And Lex has such an awesome voice, so she makes a great narrator. I'm painting this in without any particular expectation of how this is gonna go over. Ho-hum. Very salmon-y looking. Well, no, it's not salmon-y. I don't know. I'm sure the color looks a little different online. Sorry, my voice is getting all grainy. Oof. And of course, there's always the different challenges of painting a model that's not Khador. I mean, that's not your normal model. And you're using different colors and looking for different colors. I definitely had that conflict with the Night Haunt. They were super unique. I actually went out and bought some of those paints. Actual Citadel. It's crazy. So this is the super repetitive part. Yay! I got Black Widow back in 1980. It's more a super spy than a superhero. Fair enough. It always ruins. It's always ruins and battle damage. I want stuff that feels like it's about to be used, not already gone through it. Yeah, that's fair. Silver Surfer or bust. Seemed like an interesting fellow. Didn't read the Silver Surfer comics either. I found out recently when I took my parents to see the Aquaman movie that my dad read the Aquaman comics as a kid. So that was surprising. I guess I read some of the Spider-Man stuff because Spider-Man is just pretty universally awesome. I know for the longest time he was Marvel's biggest hero. Oh my god, there's more windows. Who made so many windows on this thing? This is not a very secure wagon. It's clearly not for transporting prisoners. Although these windows are also quite narrow, so maybe I spoke too soon. What kind of people are these transporting? And in the IKRPG world, it doesn't even have to be people. Blech. I got the statue in 2003. Couldn't afford one now. I know, the prices just keep going up and up on that stuff. The hobby centers have, I gotta assume they're doing pretty well considering what you pay for some of these things now. On a lot of those sorts of figurines, I just have never been able to justify. I mean, you would not know it looking at my house, but I'm actually a very anti-clutter person. I'd rather not have stuff that just sat around collecting dust. I say as I paint one of hundreds of miniatures I own. But, I guess you pick and choose at the end of the day. This is me just layering on that first darkest color, and then inside will be a lighter color, and inside will be more yellow to get more of that quote-unquote glow. And then I guess I'll just have to figure out what the heck I'm doing for the sign business. That should be fun, but I've got time for that. Man, it's also weird. We'll be talking about New Year's pretty soon. Stuff to paint by New Year's. Stuff to paint by Adepticon. Stuff to paint by, I don't know, LVO maybe? Maybe I'll go there. It's gonna be a busy year next year. A lot of conventions. Okay. The first color is on. Yay. Hello everyone, and Miranda looking great as always. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Ruben, any thoughts on mini wargaming and Vimeo's price hike? Ever run into anything similar with video hosting on your end? No, I haven't had to deal with that. I host everything through YouTube and some through Twitch, so I'm using their platform anyway. YouTube has a bunch of arbitrary rules on their own, which is a different frustration, but no, I haven't had to deal with that. I appreciated Matt's video. I think that was like, well, you know how Matt is. He always wants to be very upfront where he can. And make sure that people don't feel like they're being, you know, tricked or lied to or, you know, heavily marketed to. And so I appreciate that he did put out the video. I don't know necessarily how much it helped them, but I think they had a lot of people making suggestions, so I really hope so. Not too worried though. Mini Wargaming, they've got a lot of innovative people over there. They'll be able to either renegotiate with Vimeo, or turns out they're not the only game in town. So they probably can just move services, would be my guess. And I'm sure someone's looked into it, but like if I were in his shoes, I would be very upset with Vimeo and just looking for any other option. But who knows? Like, again, that video went out to a whole bunch of subscribers, and a lot of people who play war games are also in the tech industry, so perhaps there are some options. Yeah, that's probably all I could fairly talk about on that. And the price hike did seem crazy, though. Like, just to be able to, from 1 month to another, just increase the monthly cost 1,700%. I'm sure Matt looked at the contract and it probably is allowed. So that's crazy. Make sure you are always careful with what you sign. And it's hard too, because Vimeo is sort of the big one for movie makers and people who are wanting to put their high quality videos up. And so Vimeo has this reputation for that, but I'm sure they're not the only game in town. So that's about all I have on that one. 20 more minutes of modeling. Maybe they're magic windows. I don't know. Hey Bells, how you doing? My favorite X-Men villain was always Mr. Sinister. Villain? I always liked the heroes so much. I guess I didn't care about the villains. Like, they never felt super amazing. Have I ever said how much I hate painting crisis suits? Sorry. Mine is Professor X himself. Dig deeper and you'll find he got some darker parts in his character. Well, you know, comics, there's always more and more to see. Xavier was an interesting one. See, the sign is the best part. Black Widow was the character I would spend that much money on. Now I just do minis and such. Now it's apparently the Titan Legions, which is still super awesome. And now you have both, so you're good. Maybe that's something to be said for doing one hobby at a time. Yeah, I have no idea if these windows are doing really what I want, but, you know, we'll just sort of try to sort of putting the lighter color in a more glazy way. Like there's more dilution in it, just so it's not. Well, I don't know if I want to do that either. I don't know, whatever. It's coming along. There's windows. They have yellow in them. Now they have a lighter yellow in them. And I think before we end here, I'm probably going to re-patina my roof, which will be good. We're getting there. Should look better with some of the brown or the white or yellow in there. Still working on the zombie horses. Oh my goodness, man. It must be amazing looking at this point. Spider-Man could be good, but honestly, his rogues gallery felt a little second-rate Batman. Fair enough. Anyone see the new Mephiston model? Did you? Yes, I've been doing Blood Angel since the game was called Rogue Trader. Oh wow, nice. I used to do Epic, Space Marine, and Titan Legion, so Adeptus Titanicus is just like going home. Are you gonna go with the brass fixtures? Yes, for sure. As opposed to the dark iron. For the wagon wheels, they might still just be steel. Some things will still be metal, but yeah, for the most part, it's gonna be brass fixtures. I just don't want it to end up being overly gaudy, which is where I'd use normal looking metal, but yeah. Once it's dried, ink or glazed, go in with a light pink red dry brush over the windows and you'll be set. There you go. Could give that a shot. Miranda, I heard someone mention Iron Warriors earlier and just got back from loading all my bolters. Are they still here? I have an urgent for a Persian. Iron Warriors was a reference to the paint color. It was layering paint. I don't know that there's necessarily Iron Warriors in this chat. To add to Mephiston, I know it's a Blood Angel thing, but I'm a Blood Angels player. Why armor nipples? Batman and Robin established this was wrong. Oh, was that Jerry Bruckheimer? Is that him? A bunch of old Tomb Kings still in boxes. Keep hoping they'll come back, but the skeleton faction looks interesting. One day, maybe. Fair enough. Blood Angels are the diva of 40K. Hello, hello. How are you? All right, back to this original yellow. I'll just pop you in a different spot. I'm gonna definitely have to clean out this palette once I'm finished tonight. Ho hum. Oh, you're just chunky. That's not cool. And you always want to blend. Always the blending. Enjoy some more weird ASMR. Paint blending. I guess it's one of the things that YouTube is purging as well. Nothing is sacred. Okay, and we'll try this again and go over these and then patina and call it a night. Because it's basically the end of the night already. Goodness gracious. Let's see. They have Empire of Dust and Kings of War you can check out. It's basically Tomb Kings and you can use the models. Seems like a lot of game companies kind of went that way where there's like, here's some rule sets. You can use those models that you're not allowed to use in your favorite game anymore. I wonder how many business models have been built on that. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. lie, guys. I'm much less confident on this window business than I was on my patina business. I guess we'll just see. There we go. To the pain glove with you. Just dove headfirst into BattleTech Kickstarter and soon be finishing up my bolt action stuff for next year's Valhalla. That was such a great campaign this year, Ruben. You did such a wonderful job. Thank you and Ray and Ty. Like, really, really good work this year, man. And funny enough, a ton of people here in Albuquerque play BattleTech. So I have wondered about, like, the battle report for that should be very doable. I kind of am hopeful about that. There certainly is a lot of people, anyway. Or there certainly are a lot of people who do it. And so I just don't know how exactly interesting BattleTech is to watch. And so that'll be really the question. Really. Just dabbing this. Okay, patina next. I don't know, maybe I normalized the color too much. Well, there's some gradient there. I think you can sort of see. It'll look better with the brown. Batman. May file off the nipples. That's right. Models can be modified. There's no rule that says you can't touch the model. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? That would just be an untenable situation for people. I do bolt action too. Love it. I have 101st Airborne for Normandy, and I'm working up Africa Corps now. Goodness, Anna. Play so many. Do you actually get into, like, the super old school, like the Napoleonic stuff? And we had a guy at Valhalla. He was really, really into really old school. Historicals, and it's different, right? Because bolt action, you still have weird stuff that can happen, like Cthulhu and zombies. Whereas the true hardcore Napoleonics, you're like referencing the chart to see whether or not your weapon can, will fire, what the wind conditions are. The ranges are very specific. And it's fascinating to watch. I don't know that I've fully gotten into, like, wanting to try that. Okay. Oh yeah, I think the more is actually quite a bit better here. I have no idea if this is going to be totally appropriate or not. I think we're overall kind of getting a look here that I think is okay. Oh. The weathering looks awesome. This is a patinaing, which, yes, weathering, but I don't know. This wasn't bad for like $3 apparently. So there was a different one they had that was like it was like green and copper, but like a very emeraldy green. It basically had no green in it. I was quite unimpressed. So there you go, patina the heck out of that. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't touch any of those upper windows, did I? Ha ha ha. Well, might as well. I have the color. And that's the other thing about painting. Constantly finding all the stuff you missed. At least I am. Again, I'm not exactly like a professional painter. I mostly came from just gaming specifically, and then painting eventually when I kind of got sick of gaming. It's a different kind of focus. There we go. Patina happened so fast. Oh. Character screen loaded. It must be getting close. I'll load in with little mute. See if I can't get murdered 400 times before I go to bed. Oh wow, why? Why are you so mean? Okay. No, don't do it. Hi, Andrew. What level's your mage up to? I hope it wasn't too awful today. I've been reading in the forums. People are so upset. Like, the freaking faction imbalance is 2-to-1 on a lot of servers. It's really bad. And I mean, it's all Horde. All the time. So... in fact, it's gotten so bad that Blizzard did have to release Battlegrounds early, so they're releasing it before Christmas because people can't play right now. Like, literally, there are people who just cannot go anywhere in the world because they're not allowed to leave their corpse, basically. I love the rules. I enjoy Napoleonic minis, but I prefer Perry miniatures to Warlord for 19th century. Fair enough. I think I finally finished the base coats on this battlesuit. Getting there. Progress is progress. I got a squad of German mountain troopers just because the minis are so well sculpted. Wow, nice. Get all the items. 52, same as yesterday. The Hordes are so lame. Yep, that's basically all they know how to do. Northshire cleric is best cleric. Nice. So I like went for a walk and did some healthy things. Oh, okay. Must be nice, you know. You at least when you get out of the game of Warcraft, you can go outside of your own home and generally not get ganked there, so it's helpful. It's an improvement. Oh man, what are they going to do about that? And you're like, tabletop gaming. It feels like that's the healthier one for a while until you know, get tired of it or want to try something different, and then back to video games, and then you get your butt kicked by 9-year-olds, and then you're like, maybe wargaming is better. And it's just this cycle over and over and over for years and years. It's actually why I won't play Overwatch. I tried it once at BlizzCon, and like this 7-year-old was next to me, and he just kept wrecking me. I wanted to push him out of his seat. It was a temptation. I restrained and said, "Screw you, Overwatch." That, and I'm actually terrible at first-person shooters, so the only one I make an exception for is Vermintide anyway, but the harming a little child story seems more entertaining to me. Well, all things... Either way, guys, I definitely appreciate you spending your evening hanging out with me and painting or chatting about painting. Sort of talking about the miniature saturation. I mean, I think we kind of touched on points about it. We all sort of have dealt with it in one way or another. And it's not like you're not... It's very unlikely that you will enjoy the wargaming or miniature hobby without having well more miniatures than you can paint. There are some people who do, like they just have someone else paint them or whatever the reason may be. But for the rest of us, thank you. I'm gonna probably keep doing that yellow a little bit, but there will never be enough miniatures, so you know what I mean. I saw the Miranda at BlizzCon. She didn't attack people. Shh, Paul. Hurting my reputation. Getting near the end of our first Iron Kingdoms campaign. Soon they will face their first heavy warjack. They'll probably murder it in 2 seconds if you have a gun mage with you. Just learned to paint SS camouflage, so now I want a bolt action Waffen SS force. Nice. Dark Shades, hey there. Welcome. My daughter loves watching you paint. Oh wow, that's awesome. Glad someone does. So inspirational. Like, yes, just try it. Don't be afraid. If you mess it up, just fix it later. Aw, thank you, J. Alexander. I appreciate that, man. Well, I'll be back next week. Guilty as charged for hoarded, unpainted minis, and I do limit the number of games I play. Yeah, it's just, again, the time ratio is just so unrealistic to honestly do the meme post, right? Where you will not buy another miniature until you've painted the one you have, because you're either going to do a terrible job painting it, or you're literally buying one miniature a month or something. So, yeah. Such a time to be alive, buried in plastic and pewter. That's right. Well, guys, I super appreciate you guys, again, hanging out and taking the time to talk to me. I'm going to get a little bit more of my yellow effect here into the windows, just because I've got the paint mixed here. And then run around and wow for a bit. Anthony, I am about to end, actually, man. I was working on this Dungeons & Dragons wagon. And I've got sort of this patina stuff going on with the roof. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Trying out a glow effect for the windows, and then that's all going to be wood once I've gotten that layer. Once I've gotten to that layer. So, once again, have a great night, guys. I hope to see you in a week. I'll be streaming next week because I'll be driving out for Thanksgiving itself, so I don't have to worry about it the day before. And happy painting, happy hobbying, and have a great week. Bye.